Alright, I'm going to show you how to make an art bot made out of a Great Value red cup. It also has 3 markers on there. That is actually, when it starts up, it's actually going to be drawing a pattern on the surface. How it does that is it has a motor with a counterweight that spins around, that's off balance, kind of makes it vibrate and shake. It's going to run around on the table like that or on a piece of paper. How we hook up the motor, I'm going to be showing you how to do that, as far as how to punch the holes into the cup, how to wire it up to a 9-volt battery that's underneath the cup. And so to get started, what we've done is I've made a template right here that's going to show where to put the markers at 120 degrees difference, and then also I marked where the holes need to be on top of the cup, where the motor is going to go in, and also where the wires are going to come out on the side. And so to start by doing that, we're just going to put this on top. Now, one thing that you need to do, that I found out through experimenting, is that these Great Value cups love to crack when you try to poke a hole in it. So I'm putting a piece of electrical tape over there to kind of cushion that, so that it won't split as bad than if it didn't have that piece of tape. Because if it splits too bad, I'm going to just have to throw the cup away and restart all over. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this sharp tool. It just kind of has a point. It's not sharp enough to like draw blood, but it is sharp enough to where it'll poke a hole through this Great Value cup. Now, one thing, you don't want to be real fast about it. You just kind of want to put it in there slowly. Not very fast, because the faster you do it, the more likely you are to split or to make the splitting worse. So you just kind of want to work it in there. Nice and easy. And so I'm going all the way up to this maximum thing, and then sometimes I might want to go and I want to try to make the holes a little bit bigger, because on the actual motor that I'm putting in, I found out what I had to do to beef this up is I actually had to solder those wires on there a little bit better, put more solder on there, and then I also coated it into some cold glue that we later put on there, and that kind of takes out some of the vibration on the wires and keeps them intact so that they're not breaking off as the robot's doing its little dance. Now, since I have this hole spaced, how I did the hole spacing was I took this, and it's the same distance as those tabs on the motor are, and so I know that those holes are going to fit exactly. Now later on, what I'm going to do on this motor is I'm actually going to glue this motor on to this cup using the cold glue gun again. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some holes in the side. Now I want you to be aware of where I place these holes in the side of the cup. It's also where I'm putting that, it's right above where I'm mounting that battery. And the battery is also cold glued to the cup as well. So I'm going to go, since I haven't actually mounted my battery on the cup yet, it really doesn't matter where I place those holes on the cup. So I'm just going to pick a spot, and I'm just going to have to be aware that later, when I'm actually putting this battery in there, I'm lining it up with those holes. Also, when I'm marking the spots to put the markers on the bottom of the cup, I also need to make sure that my battery is not in line with those markers, or it's not going to work very well. I'm going to have to undo something. So probably what I'll do, so I don't forget about that right now, is I'll probably put my first marker. I'm going to put the first marker. It doesn't really matter where you put that mark on the cup for the first marker. And then I'm going to line that up on my template here in just a second. So now that I've done this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to poke the holes in the wire. I'm going to use my template again, put that on here, and I'm going to poke those holes in this one as well. Now this I found it's a little bit trickier. I kind of like to get my fingers up back in there and support it, so that because this plastic is just so flimsy that I need to be able to support it a little bit. So I just kind of do it like this. Since it's not really sharp, I'm not really in any danger of poking my finger. I'm not doing it very fast, so it's still safe. I'm going to do the next one. Line it up. And I can also kind of feel where the instrument's going to poke through the plastic, so I know to get my finger out of the way so that I don't hurt myself doing that, even if it was a little sharper. Now here I want to make the holes as big as possible because the terminals on that motor are pretty big. Now it's kind of hard to get your fingers up in there to get those wires to poke out, so it makes it a little bit easier if you have some needle nose pliers. Do that. Then you can just grab that in there and find that hole a lot easier, and then just start to poke it through. And so I got it in there, I got it started, and then I'll just use my fingers. I can get a better grip on it and then poke that through that motor a lot easier. And then I'll do the same for the red wire. Go and grab it by that metal connector, poke that through the terminal, and then bring that out. Okay? And so there's the wires sticking out. Now later on what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the battery down here, and I have a 9-volt battery clip that's just going to connect to these connectors here in a second. I'm going to do that in part 2 of these instructions. Now what I'm going to do is, to finish up this video, I'm going to show you how we're going to get those other notches on the deal. I'm just going to use this template, put it on here. I'm going to go ahead, and you should be getting a view from the top. You've seen where I've already put my first mark, and you'll notice that this circle is the same diameter as the cup. So I've already made my first notch where I'm going to put those markers. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And just so I don't get confused, since I've butchered it up over here, I'm just going to make a really long mark just to show where to put that marker on that first. So now I have 3 equal distant marks around the perimeter of that cup. In the part 2 of this video, what we're going to do is we're actually going to get the hot glue gun. We're going to glue that motor onto the top of the cup. We're going to hook the 9-volt battery clip to these wires, and then we're also going to hot glue the battery to the bottom here onto the cup. And that's it.